Reginald here. I'm going to try out a little bit more of a short format today. I've been experimenting with the Eviscerator in interest of finding another diamond in the rough. So for this video, we're going to look at a few things. What was I going for with this build, and how does one use it in the hypothetical, or the practical? Was it any good when I tried it, and should you use it? My scheme for the Eviscerator was to go away from the traditional build of using Rampage and Savage Sweep to maximize damage and cleave, and actually look at another way to maximize damage. See, the Eviscerator really hurts on damage. It's just kind of disappointing all around as a weapon, but its damage certainly disappoints, and its cleave isn't that great either. So you're usually using Savage Sweep to improve your cleave, and you're usually using Rampage to try and get some damage into the weapon, though it's not usually enough. Well, one of the great things about the Eviscerator, one of the coolest things about the Eviscerator as well, is it has this wonderful rev attack on the special attack on the first heavy swing. It will cleave targets, and it will kill multiple targets, and then potentially, and as it goes through targets, if it hits something big enough, it will also latch and then rev against that target for big damage as well. So that's a really fun mechanic, and it works very well, and it works in favor of the Eviscerator. But it doesn't do that much damage base, and there isn't any damage blessings for it aside from Rampage, which is like 17% extra damage or whatever. So it kind of doesn't wind up the way other weapons do with those big power blessings. But it does get Bloodthirsty. Now, Bloodthirsty, if you look at Bloodthirsty, gets 100% critical chance on special attack kill. And what that means is your next swing has a 100% crit chance. Well, what's pretty easy to do with the Eviscerator is get at least one kill in your swing. Now, you're not going to always get one kill on a revved heavy attack, and that's actually one of the frustrating things about it, because there's very little in the way of damage blessings, but you can usually get one kill, which means your next attack is definitely going to be a crit, and it's definitely going to do a lot of damage, and it's definitely going to net you another crit if you're using a special attack, which you have no reason not to do, because it's a big cleaving attack. So what if you just spam revved special attacks, heavy ones, over and over again, kind of like a budget power sword? So I'm going to show you what that actually looked like, doing it in game and actually on the test range here in a second, so you can see how it's used and whether or not it was worth doing. I have a nice little video of some gameplay here. We're going to watch me try to take advantage of this. Now notice that first swing doesn't kill the Poxwalker. The second swing is defensive. That doesn't kill anybody. So now I'm 3 swings deep. That's the 4th swing, finally getting some kills. Now I'm finally getting these multi-hits, but it's not enough to get through all these enemies, so I have to switch to more standard swing patterns. No crits there, of course, because the first one doesn't count. And any other swing, including a block attack, will cost me that Bloodthirsty stack. So here I'm going to fail to get to the Ogre, and I did try. And I won't kill the Muty either, so that's not very impressive with the Eviscerator. Now, it's not got the perfect arrangement to kill Muties, I realize, but you can see how I'm struggling in this case to actually take advantage of this build, this sort of meme build, if you will, that I'm trying. Alright, I've got another piece of footage I'm going to use to show you it in a good use case, so you can see what that looks like too. Here I'm tapping a bunch of Groaners to death with my chainsword. Now, it is pretty effective. Obviously, I'm having to do a combination of dodging, positioning, and general movement, and also sort of leveraging the advantage that I get from this Ogre to do this, but certainly being able to do it over and over again, that's not too much of a problem, and it's not like I can't use other attacks if I need to in this situation. So you can see what it does. Now I'm going to start showing you what that looks like on the range, because I think there's value there as well. So let's go there. The question to answer here is whether or not the Eviscerator is any good doing this. So, well, let's just give you a chance to see. First hit. Second hit. Crit. That is not bad. that's that mechanic coming in there. Very fun. Okay. Let's try out some heavier targets. Alright, so you saw how much damage it can do, and it's certainly not bad, but in a real game, in real conditions, is it any good? Well, I did put that to the test, and I have to say I came away disappointed. In terms of real damage output, the weapon manages to match, but not really exceed, my chain axe. Additionally, and big con here, you have to constantly spam Rev Heavy 1 if you want to get all the value out of it. And that can be difficult to pull off on its own, considering the low dodge limit and other factors. But it's also kind of annoying. I mean, it's already got the same, the power sword already has that same problem, right? So like, why would you want to introduce that same problem to another weapon you're using just to get value out of it? So in that sense, it's not that impressive. I certainly didn't get bad numbers with it, and it has, the flexibility that most chain weapons offer, with the special attack being useful against heavier targets as well as light targets in this case. So it's not awful, but personally, the question, if you're going to ask me whether or not you should use this build, should you go in and get bloodthirsty and then throw on Savage Sweep so you can maximize your crits and do a Mimi crit build? My answer is just going to be outright no. It's not fun, and it's not that strong, and it certainly doesn't do anything that you can't just do by using any other weapon with a decent build on it. So my recommendation, again, is no. Thank you all so much for coming to visit once again. I hope you enjoyed this little review of something I had been working on. I am working on other longer form content and tutorials. I've got a couple of things in the works for you coming forwards. But I didn't want to over-invest on an Eviscerator tutorial, not knowing the full possibilities of builds, so hence this experiment. And also, I didn't want to make too many commitments to large build guides, considering we're going to be having some patches at the end of May, and potentially we were going to have a patch today, and I didn't know what they were going to do to the weapons, which turns out not much. So, without much more ado, I hope you all have a wonderful day or week, and I will see you around.